Sleepwalkers, talkers act. What is the weirdest thing you've done in your sleep? The first time my husband said he loved me, he was asleep. When he woke up I asked what he was dreaming about. He said he was driving a tractor through his old high school. Plot twist, OP is a tractor. On one of our first nights sleeping together, my boyfriend rolled over, snuggled up behind me, and seductively whispered, "I support your business." Not realizing he was asleep, I asked what he meant. He started rolling his hips against me and growled, "I would buy all your merchandise. I'll never let him live it down. Sometimes I like to bring up the stock market when I talk dirty. It's free real estate." My college roommate told me I used to shout things like, "Oh not tonight you don't," if she would come back late and turn any lights on. She started getting ready for bed in the closet. I unplugged my alarm clock. That required me crawling under my bed and reaching up to the plug behind the headboard. Nothing getting me up today. A couple weeks ago, I shook my roommate awake saying that I needed to find the man with the numbers. He said it really freaked him out, then I just went back to my bed and fell face first into it. Yelled rooster in Hungarian repeatedly, scared the crap out of my fiance as we were only together a few weeks at the time. Me and my brothers, 3, used to share a bedroom. One night I woke up to see 2 of my brothers also sitting up listening to my third brother rapping in his sleep. It was in Spanish, and none of it really made much sense, but it rhymed. Plot twist, your brother doesn't speak Spanish. I used to sleepwalk as a kid. I've eaten cat food and woken up with the worst taste in my mouth. Also according to my mom, I've gotten up and come out of my room, looked right at her and asked where my mom is. Apparently I still sleep talk a lot, but I never have any recollections of what I was dreaming. I've also karate chopped my husband in the throat while half asleep because he was snoring. That seems totally reasonable. This was recounted to me by my girlfriend one morning when I was working night shifts. I got up out of bed and walked over to the dog's food bowl, then took a handful and started eating it. I then proceeded to walk back to the bedroom and said this popcorn tastes like crap, and got back into bed. This is by far my favorite one. God, I hope it's real. I wrapped my arm around my husband and squeezed him really hard. Another time, I pushed him into a sitting position and dove off the bed behind his back. My sleep specialist told me not to own any guns or keep keys, pocket knives, or pills near my bed. Used to collect random things around my room and put them in bed with me. The weirdest one for me was when I woke up with my head at the foot of the bed snuggling my lamp though. I love lamp. My girlfriend will occasionally sleep text me due to some medication. The weirdest thing I remember is her saying she needs more potatoes to buy a shark. The sharks for sale could also predict the future. I never found out how many she needed. Also no red, they only accept russet. Just use the grand exchange. Sharks are cheap. My husband sleep talks. He has said many things that are pretty funny, but my favorite was last week. He was laying on his stomach and kind of looked towards me and said, "You can touch my butt." You know, he's also a big gamer, so there are times he'll talk about something in a game and I'll kind of respond and start laughing. He gets really mad about me laughing, because whatever he's dreaming about is super serious lol. My ex used to sometimes talk in her sleep. One night I was up really late and was high just watching TV and she said, very clearly to me, "Let's get McDonald's." I thought to myself that it was a great idea, so I got up and started getting dressed. After I was done I went back to wake her and she was out. I shook her a couple of times and said, "Let's go." She finally woke up and said, "What? No, it's late, go to bed." I was so disappointed because I totally thought she wanted to go and I was too high to drive, so I had to get undressed again and go back to bed. That is so sad for some reason. I collected all the red pieces from our display of potpourri in the living room. Only the red pieces. Put them on a platter like it was a snack. Put it on my nightstand, and went back to bed. I guess it was a nice snack to wake up to in the morning. Me and my then GF were taking a nap. She was on the side of the bed with a wall, I was on the outer end. She woke up to me saying no stop ice cream. She was really confused and was about to wake me up when in my sleep I threw a punch missing inches from her head and hitting the wall. There was a small dent afterwards. I explained that I was having a dream that where ice cream men were kidnapping her and I was fighting them off. She was used to me talking and screaming but never sleep fighting. I obviously apologized and was very embarrassed about the whole ordeal. Boyfriend, current husband, was napping next to me in college and suddenly punched me in the chest, knocking the wind out of me. His eyes opened and he looked at my startled face and exclaimed, "You're not the bearded man." I work prep at a restaurant. After an extended work week I started prepping chicken in my sleep. My husband started typing on my face. I asked him what he was doing and he said, "Calculating insurance rate." He didn't remember it in the morning. My friend sleepwalked every night. One evening we watched old ninja kung fu movies and went to sleep in separate rooms. Woke up in the middle of the night to find him gone and the front door open. Had to wake up his parents. He was then renting their basement, which was a full apartment, and after 15 minutes of searching in different locations we found him running around in a nearby park, fighting air. He now sleeps with a small source of light and he apparently does not sleepwalk anymore, though we can't know for sure because he now has his own house. Mayo, I pictured someone in their boxers just kicking frantically like a maniac in the middle of the night, outside. That image is gold. I walked into my parents' room searching frantically. They asked what I was doing and I told them I was looking for my sword. They then asked why I needed my sword and apparently, my very snarky response was to brush my teeth. Also, was told I once sat up on my knees, did a slap number like on the SpongeBob movie and then fell right back down and went back to sleep. This made me laugh out loud. To brush my teeth, God. The second night I spent sharing a bed with my husband. He sat bolt upright in bed in the middle of the night and said, "Oh my god, why are there cans everywhere? The bed is full of canned goods. Under the blankets and stacked up." I didn't yet know about his sleep talking, so I was bewildered. Then he calmed down and laid back down next to me. He grabbed both my boobs and said, "I'm gonna need honey on my cereal," while squeezing them. He then rolled over snoring and I wondered what the heck just happened. He grabbed both my boobs and said, "I'm gonna need honey on my cereal." This is the most interesting thing I have ever read this week. Apparently I sat straight up, turned to my roommate, and asked her, "Are you dead yet?" and proceeded to fall straight back to sleep. My sister and I shared a room and she would talk in her sleep, which didn't bother me too much, but every once in a while she would suddenly bolt upright in the bed and silently stare at me. Shudder. I used to sleepwalk as a child. According to my mom, I walked out of my room, opened the refrigerator and peed in it. As a young girl, my aunt walked out into the living room, hoisted her nightie, and peed right on the plastic mat kept by the front door for wet shoes. Apparently there was a room full of guests at the time. This is one of my grandparents' favorite stories. During the first year of medical school we were taught how to perform a physical exam. One night, my then girlfriend woke up to me performing and commenting on a pretty comprehensive lower extremity exam. Passed the test. I guess that's better than a comprehensive sleep pap smear. Not me, but my husband. He sleep talks more, but has had a few sleepwalking sessions. Some of the stuff off the top of my mind. Moved around furniture to align two chairs perfectly lined up one in front of the other. Supposedly the dream was me and him getting to beta test a VR for a roller coaster. Waking up to him leaning over me with his eyes open, but sound asleep. I had to push him off of me to get him to wake up. Screaming bee at the top of his lungs in the middle of the night. Dream was about a Ken-sized bee after him. Screaming paper animals in the middle of the night. Ended up being a dream about life-size paper animals attacking from a zoo. Getting up to use the restroom in the night, he grabs my arm and mentions something about it will all be fine as long as I don't tell them my name. I ask who and he mentions the creatures at the foot of the bed. I decide it's best to fall back asleep then get up. Waking up as he punched the wall near the bed. I woke him up for him not to know why he did it. Finding his spare headphones in the bathroom one morning, ones that had been buried in a drawer. According to him he had dreamed he was going to a concert and was thinking of them as earplugs. I can only guess his sleep self thought the concert was in our bathroom. I could go on and on. Edit. He reminded me this morning after finding the post the creatures at the end of the bed were soul llamas, which are llamas made up with souls and they took the souls of people that they knew the name of. Your husband and I do the same thing. My best was screaming I need the sushi blanket translation. I was cold and was meeting my father for lunch at a sushi bar the next day. I asked my husband which zodiac sign he was, and when he asked me what I was talking about, I told him I thought he wasn't a Virgo, but, in fact, a goat. Told this story before. One night when I was 8 or so I apparently got up, got out of bed, walked into my mom's bedroom, and started eating her deodorant. She wasn't able to stop me until I'd alright eaten a big chunk of it. Concerned, she asked me if I was okay. I replied I feel good and promptly walked back to my room. When she came in I was out cold. This is the only time I've been told I sleepwalked, although I have been told I sleep talk. Apparently just yesterday I was said to have been talking to my friend in my sleep. My mom woke up to me going through her laundry basket when I was 7 or 8. She asked what I was doing and I said looking for my hamster. My hamster died when I was 5 and we didn't even live in the same house anymore. Guess I missed him. I sat up, said my roommate's girlfriend's name, then told her that we have to save the dolphins. We still get a kick out of it 5 years later. Chronic sleepwalker here. For whatever reason, my unconscious self has this vendetta against me. I've woken up only to find that I had turned off all my alarms in my sleep before. Made me late for work more than once. When I was a kid, I would sleepwalk and pee on my belongings in the process. I woke up once in the act of urinating in my gigantic tub of Legos. One instance that I still have no answer for is the day I woke up with a huge, bloody gash in my right side. I went to bed totally fine, then woke up the next morning to a wet, red-stained mattress and a dirty gash right beneath my ribcage. I had no clue how it got there until later in the day when I realized I could have done it in my sleep. I don't know why the asleep version of myself is out to get me, but he's gone as far as gashing my side open. I seriously have no idea how I did it to this day. Ugh. Don't you just hate it when that happens? Also, I think you have a second personality, trapped during the day, takes out the frustration of being trapped during the day on you at night. I went on a 5-minute rant about how much I hate Everybody Loves Raymond. So not everybody loves Raymond. Back when I was playing a lot of Resident Evil, I scared the crap out of my dad by walking into his room in the middle of the night and rummaging around in his dresser. When he asked what the heck I was doing, apparently I said, looking for ammo. Apparently I sleep talk all the time. Usually my boyfriend tells me how I say the occasional I can't wait to marry you or I love you etc. But one night apparently I turned to him and said I don't like cilantro, which is true. He then asked why and I answered because it's too strong, and when he proceeded to say but you're stronger, I replied of course I am and went right back to sleep. We laugh about it all the time now. You two sound sweet, unlike cilantro. Frick cilantro. Driving. I woke up driving my truck down a dirt road and the potholes woke me up. I have done a lot of strange things while sleepwalking, but that was the craziest. Terrifying. I know, it sounds like balls. I have actually managed to get up, walk to the kitchen, get out a single piece of bread, stick it in the toaster oven, take it out early and then proceed to eat it and go back to sleep. My dad watched the whole thing. There's actually a legit condition called night eating that revolves around this kind of behavior. People are capable of all sorts of advanced motor functions while it's going on. Not me but my brother. He talks in his sleep and I remember one school night, like 4 AM, I heard him and thought he was playing video games. I went in there to warn him if mom heard him she'd be peed because he had school. When I walked in he shot up in his bed and looked at me. His eyes looked weird, like he there but he wasn't. I told him I thought he was playing video games and I'm sorry for waking him up. He stood up on his bed, got into the defense position for football, and asked me do you want to effing go? I stuttered his name as a question and stood there feeling the spread of panic. He pounced towards me and I shut the door and locked it. He tried turning the door handle a few times before walking back to his bed. I stood there for about 5 solid minutes trying not to have a heart attack. He doesn't recall any of it. I don't check on him anymore. When I was younger I did. around 5-6 years old. My mom said it was Christmas Eve and she was in the living room wrapping more presents, and I came into the living room, walked around in a circle, then pulled my pants down and peed in the middle of the floor. I definitely remember dreaming I was using the toilet though. Another time, my mom woke up to hearing some banging around in my room, which I shared with my sister, 1 year older. When she walked in, she said I was going through the toy box for a minute and found a plastic hammer toy, and then walked over to my sister's bed and began hitting her on the head with it, which is when she finally woke me up. My husband woke up early for work one day and was trying to sneak out without waking me, and apparently right as he was about to exit the room, I popped up "Don't wake daddy" style and yelled, "It's AME, Amaro," and immediately laid back down asleep. Don't wake daddy, that game gave me so much anxiety lol. Went and sat cross-legged in the hallway with my forehead pressed against the wall. My roommate came out in the dark and tripped over me, which scared the crap out of both of us and made me scrape my face across the wall. I'm at work and can't be laughing this hard at my phone. Stab. One time I woke my mom up, dragged her outside and told her the garage door opener was on the roof. When my brother, 15 months older than me, was about 4, my grandma had been teaching him to sing "Take Me Out" the ball game. It was midnight and my mom heard a noise from our room. He was singing the song full volume in his sleep and I was singing along in my sleep. One time when we were probably 13-14, he was asleep in his room next door to me, and at 2 AM, I was awake because of insomnia. He said my name. Just my name. Nothing else. It was terrifying. Edit. One more story I remembered. Around the same time as the name thing, he also mumbled raps in his sleep. This is my son. He routinely sings full songs, with perfect lyrical memory, in his sleep. Thing is, he has crap taste. It's terrifying to be woken up by Imagine Dragons at 3 AM belted out by the world's teenasy American Idol contestant. My brother told me I repeated "We're all gonna drown. We're all gonna die," followed by laughter. I have no idea what my dream was about, but I wish I did. Water level. Back when I had just returned home from college and hadn't quite moved in with my then boyfriend, now husband, I got out of my bed and stripped naked, then proceeded to go to the living room. I woke up alone, standing in the dark living room, and quickly ran back to bed. I have a fairly large family, 2 brothers, 3 sisters, mom, and dad, and all claim they didn't see my nakedness that night, but who really knows? I've slept-walked forever. Generally I get up and follow whomever is getting ready for work before I wake up like a slow, useless zombie. It drove my husband nuts when he used to work earlier than me. Generally I get up and follow whomever is getting ready for work before I wake up like a slow, useless zombie. I am laughing so goddamn hard. Thank you for this. I was told I boxed a friend of mine, but I had no memory. A buddy of mine was sleeping over and he had a mutual friend of ours show up. I had already fallen asleep on the couch, so I had no clue he was there. Apparently I sat up, noticed boxing gloves at the end of the bed, put them on, and then proceeded to practice what I now call my lullaby left hook. It was more like big glove hand slaps and a hug, but same concept. When I asked what I said, my friend laughed. "Good morning, Blake." Lullaby left hook. You have been spotted by the money pigeon. Comment "gimme gimme" and he will bless you with good fortune. Like and subscribe, you magnificent person.